Listen to me very closely. Right now, you are bleeding time, energy, and money, and you don't even know it. Why? Because you are making decisions with your feelings instead of your math. Sentiment is a tax you cannot afford to pay, and it is bankrupting your future. This book is your new operating system. You're going to replace your heart with a cold, hard calculator. You will learn to assess the true cost of every relationship, every habit, and every minute. Do the math or be the casualty. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Tax of Sentimentality. You are paying a tax. You pay it every single day. You pay it when you wake up, and you pay it before you go to sleep. It is not collected by the government. It is not automatically deducted from your paycheck. It is collected by your own mind. It is the tax of sentimentality, and it is bankrupting your future. Look at your life. Look at the decisions you made this week. Look at the calendar appointments you accepted. How many of them were driven by cold, hard data, and how many were driven by guilt, pity, obligation, nostalgia? Every time you make a decision based on how you feel, rather than what the numbers actually say, you were voluntarily taking on a massive, unyielding liability. You were signing a long-term contract with zero return on investment. Emotions obscure reality. They place a thick fog over the spreadsheet of your life. They make terrible investments look like noble sacrifices. They trick you into believing that suffering for someone else's dysfunction is a virtue. It is not a virtue. It is mathematical suicide. Here is the absolute truth of your existence. Emotions cost, math pays. Let me repeat that so it burns into your new operating system. Emotions cost, math pays. When you operate on sentiment, you create invisible debts. You owe people your time. You owe people your energy. You owe people your mental bandwidth. Why? Because you feel bad, because you have history, because you want to be seen as the good guy by people who were doing absolutely nothing good for themselves. Stop it, right now. It's not about being merciless, it's about being effective. It's not about cruelty, it's about discipline. You have a choice. You can continue to bleed out your most valuable resources to keep other people comfortable, or you can become the cold calculator your future demands. Let's look at a real-world example. Let's talk about your childhood friend. You know exactly who I am talking about. The one you've known for 15, 20 years. The one who is stuck in the exact same place they were a decade ago. Every time your phone rings and their name pops up on the screen, your stomach drops. You already know what the conversation is going to be. It will be complaining. It will be manufactured drama. It will be an endless, suffocating loop of excuses about why the world is against them. But you answer it anyway. Why? Because you played Little League together, because you went to the same high school, because of nostalgia. You are paying the tax of sentimentality. Let's run the numbers. Let's actually calculate what this ghost of the past is costing you. Let's say this friend calls you twice a week. Each call is 45 minutes of pure venting. That is an hour and a half a week. That is 6 hours a month. That is 72 hours a year. 72 hours, almost 3 full sleepless days of your life given away to someone who does absolutely nothing with the advice you give them. But the calculation does not stop there. The true cost is much deeper. What about the mental bandwidth? After you hang up the phone, you are drained, your energy is depleted, your focus is shattered. It takes you another hour just to reset your mind and get back to your own work, your own goals, your own family. That is another 72 hours a year. Now we are at 144 hours. What could you have built in 144 hours? What high-income skill could you have mastered? How many pages of a book could you have written? How much closer could you be to absolute financial freedom? You traded your infinite potential for their temporary comfort. You subsidized their weakness with your irrecoverable time. Emotions cost, math pays. You think you are being a loyal friend. The math says you're being a fool. The math says you are hemorrhaging the one resource you can never, ever get back: time. This is where the transformation begins. You have to stop looking at relationships through the lens of history. History is a sunk cost. You cannot spend yesterday.
You can only invest tomorrow. The length of time you have known someone does not dictate their current value in your life today. If they're not bringing value to the table right now, their past contributions are mathematically irrelevant. You must draw a line in the sand. You don't need their permission to stop answering the phone. You don't need their permission to protect your energy. You don't need their permission to outgrow them. They will not give it to you anyway. That's the key. Growth requires shedding dead weight. You cannot climb the mountain with a backpack full of rocks, and nostalgia is the heaviest rock of all. Stop letting guilt write the checks that your future has to cash. When you feel pity, recognize it for exactly what it is, a tax levied on your potential. When you feel obligated because of how things used to be, recognize it as a massive liability. It's not about being cold, it's about strict asset allocation. Your time, your focus, and your energy are the most precious assets you possess. Treat them like gold. Guard them like a maximum security vault. If an investment, whether it is a person, a habit, or a commitment, is not yielding a positive return, you must cut it. You have a choice. Right now, today. You can look at that childhood friend, at that draining relative, at that parasitic acquaintance, and you can finally do the math. Or you can keep paying the tax until you have absolutely nothing left to give. Emotions cost. Math pays. Write it down. Put it on your mirror. Make it the wallpaper on your phone. Tattoo it on the inside of your eyelids if you have to. Every time a request comes your way from this day forward, do not ask yourself how you feel about it. Feelings are irrelevant. Ask yourself what it costs. Run the calculation. What is the return on this hour? What is the return on this dinner? What is the return on this phone call? If the number is 0, or worse, if the number is negative, the answer is no. A cold, hard, calculated no. No apologies, no lengthy explanations, just a simple mathematical boundary. People will call you selfish. They will say you have changed. They will try to leverage guilt, shame, and history to bring you back down to their level. Let them. Their opinion of you is just another invisible liability you are no longer going to finance. Let them be mad. Let them be offended. You are stepping into a new arena now. An arena where only the numbers matter and where your survival depends on your objectivity. You have successfully recognized the tax. You now understand how sentimentality has been draining your accounts minute by minute, day by day. You are ready to stop bleeding. But recognizing the leak is only the first step. Now we must actively clean house. We must look at the people surrounding you and categorize them with ruthless, unfeeling precision. You mastered the concept of the tax. Now let's look at the actual ledger of your life.
Chapter 2. Audit your circle. Cut the deficit. Welcome to the boardroom of your life. Take your seat at the head of the table. Open the books. We are going to look at your social network. Your social network is not a safety net. It is a strict, uncompromising balance sheet. It is composed entirely of assets and liabilities. There is absolutely no middle ground. There is no neutral territory. Every single person you interact with is either pushing you toward your absolute potential or they are dragging you down into their comfortable mediocrity. Do not lie to yourself. Do not pretend that some friends are just harmless. Harmless is a mathematical impossibility. Stagnation is a liability. Inaction is a liability. If the people around you are not actively contributing to your growth, they are actively extracting your energy. Read that again. Burn it into your prefrontal cortex. If they aren't adding value, they are extracting it. Your energy is finite. Your daily focus has a hard limit. Every minute you spend listening to idle gossip is a minute stolen from your empire. Every ounce of empathy you pour into a chronic complainer is an ounce of discipline drained from your purpose. You are funding their dysfunction with your most precious capital. You have a choice. You can continue to be the dumping ground of the world's excuses,
or you can become a fortress of absolute execution. You can keep everyone comfortable, or you can get rich, get strong, and get free. You cannot do both. It's not about cruelty, it's about optimization. Let's run the exact calculation on your daily environment. Let's look at the coworker who catches you by the coffee machine every single morning. Let's look at the work friend who sends you instant messages all afternoon. We will call him Dave. Dave vents to you for 1 hour a day. He complains about the boss. He complains about the economy. He complains about his wife, his back pain, and his commute. You stand there and nod. You offer sympathetic words. You think you are being polite. You think you are just playing the corporate game. The math says you are being robbed. Let us calculate the deficit. 1 hour a day, 5 hours a week, 260 hours a year. That is 10.5 entire 24-hour days of your life swallowed completely by Dave's incompetence and negative framing. What is your energy ROI, your return on investment on that hour? It is severely negative. You walk away from that conversation drained. You walk away irritated. Your focus is shattered. It takes you another 20 minutes just to get back into a state of deep work. Dave, on the other hand, walked away feeling lighter. Why? Because he successfully dumped his mental garbage into your brain. He extracted your peace to subsidize his chaos. If they aren't adding value, they are extracting it. Now, let's look at a true asset. Let's look at a high-level mentor. Let us imagine you get exactly 5 minutes on the phone with someone who is 10 steps ahead of you in life and business. They do not ask how your weekend was. They do not care about your feelings. They do not want to hear your excuses. They look at your current business plan or your workout routine or your financial strategy, and they tell you exactly where it is failing. They point out the flaw. They give you the immediate correction. 5 minutes.
It stings, it hurts your ego, but it gives you absolute crystal clear direction. The energy ROI on those 5 minutes is exponentially positive. It saves you 6 months of trial and error. It potentially puts $10,000 in your pocket. It forces you to operate at a higher frequency. The mentor added immense undeniable value in 300 seconds. Dave extracted a fortune in 260 hours. If they aren't adding value, they are extracting it. This is where your transformation must begin. It is time to act. You must perform an immediate, ruthless audit of your circle. Get a blank piece of paper. Draw a hard line straight down the middle. Label the left side assets. Label the right side liabilities. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Do the math on every single one of them. Who motivates you? Who challenges your weak ideas? Who forces you to level up just by being in their presence? Put them on the left. Who complains constantly? Who gossips about other people because they have no goals of their own? Who consistently requires you to save them from their own terrible, repeated decisions? Put them on the right. That's the key. You must see the deficit in black and white. You must drag the invisible costs out into the harsh light of a spreadsheet. Once you see the math, the required action becomes mandatory. You must cut the deficit. You must stop funding the liabilities. Stop lingering by the coffee machine. Stop answering the texts immediately. Starve the liabilities of your attention. You are cutting off their funding. You don't need their permission to protect your time. You don't need their permission to walk away mid-complaint. You don't need their permission to upgrade your life. They will not understand. They will call you arrogant. They will say you think you are better than them. They will try to drag you back down to the basement of their own low expectations. Let them talk. Their opinions do not pay your bills. Their opinions do not build your legacy. Their comfort is not your responsibility. It's not about isolation. It's about curation. You must guard your circle with lethal precision. There are no passengers on your ship. Everyone rows or they get thrown overboard. Every conversation must have a purpose. Every interaction must yield a return. If you do not defend your environment will dictate your failure. Look at that list. Look at the right side of that paper.
Those are the leaks in your hull. Plug them today. Stop the bleeding. If they aren't adding value, they are extracting it. You have audited your present circle. You know who stays and who goes. But the trap of sentimentality goes deeper than your current environment. Often the heaviest weights we carry are the ones we've been holding the longest. You understand how to cut the daily deficits. Now let's talk about the danger of letting the past dictate your future.
Chapter 3. The Sunk Cost Fallacy of History. Welcome to the most dangerous trap in the human mind. Welcome to the invisible cage that keeps millions of people locked in lives they absolutely despise. It is called the sunk cost fallacy. You buy a ticket to a movie. 10 minutes in, you realize the movie is complete garbage. The acting is terrible. The plot is an insult to your intelligence. Do you walk out, or do you sit there for another 2 hours because you paid $20? Most people stay. They suffer for 2 hours to justify the $20 they already lost. That is the sunk cost fallacy. It is mathematical suicide. People do this every single day. They do it with their careers. They do it with failing businesses. And most dangerously, they do it with their relationships. They look backward to justify moving forward. They let the weight of the past crush the potential of the future. This is a critical error in your operating system. It is time to overwrite the code. Listen to the absolute truth. Yesterday's time is gone. Protect tomorrow's. Let that command echo in your mind. Say it out loud. Yesterday's time is gone. Protect tomorrow's. Time already invested does not guarantee future value. The universe does not owe you a return on your investment just because you waited a long time. If you hold on to a bad investment just because you have held it for a decade, you are simply compounding your losses. You are throwing good time after bad time. You are bankrupting your future to validate a mistake you made in the past. Let's look at the ultimate trap, the dead-end romantic relationship. You know the one. Maybe you are in it right now. Let's call it a 5-year relationship. For the first year, it was great. There was momentum, there was growth, but for the last 4 years, it has been a slow, grinding decline into absolute misery. You fight constantly. You resent each other. You sleep in different rooms. Your energy is entirely depleted. The partnership is a black hole. But when a mentor asks you why you stay, what is your immediate emotional answer? We have so much history. We've been together for 5 years. I can't just throw 5 years away. Listen to me very closely. You are not throwing 5 years away. Those 5 years are already gone. They are spent. The ledger is closed. Yesterday's time is gone. Protect tomorrow's. You are looking at those 5 years as an investment that will eventually magically pay off if you just suffer a little bit longer. You need to look at those 5 years as data. That's the key. History is not an anchor. History is data. And what does the data tell you? The data proves unequivocally that this relationship is a failed enterprise. You have 4 years of consecutive, undeniable losses. You have 4 years of negative returns on your emotional, financial, and temporal capital. If this were a stock, you would have sold it 3.5 years ago. If this were a business, you would have dissolved the LLC and filed for bankruptcy. But because it is a romance, because society has trained you to value sentiment over strategy, you let emotion destroy your logic. It's not about heartlessness, it's about preservation. It's not about abandonment, it's about strategic retreat. You must stop pouring your finite future into a broken vessel. You have a choice. You can wake up tomorrow and sacrifice day number 1 of year 6 to the exact same miserable routine. You can voluntarily sign up for another 365 days of depletion. Or you can cut your losses. You can stop the bleeding. You can liquidate the bad asset immediately. You don't need their permission to end it.
You don't need their permission to pack your bags. You don't need their permission to look at the math, realize the account is hopelessly overdrawn, and close the account permanently. They will cry. They will bargain. They will try to manipulate your empathy. They will bring up the good times from half a decade ago to make you feel guilty. Do not fall for it. The calculator in your mind does not care about a vacation you took in 2021. The calculator only cares about the trajectory of your life today. Yesterday's time is gone. Protect tomorrow's. How do you implement this right now? You must conduct a ruthless historical audit of your life. I want you to look at the major commitments you hold right now. Look at the job you hate but have stayed at for 8 years because of seniority. Look at the side project that is generating zero revenue but has consumed thousands of hours. Look at the relationships that drain your soul. Ask yourself one single clinical question. Knowing what I know right now, looking at the raw data of how this makes me feel and what it produces, if I were starting from zero today, would I make this investment? If the answer is no, you must terminate the investment immediately. Do not wait for the right time. There is no right time to stop punching yourself in the face. Stop today, right now. You are suffering from the illusion that longevity equals value. It does not. A mistake repeated for 5 years is still a mistake. It is just a very expensive one. You have a choice. You can be the helpless victim of your past decisions, or you can be the ruthless architect of your future wealth. Every single second you spend hesitating out of guilt is a second stolen from your ultimate potential. It's not about regret. It's about aggressive correction. When the math on a whiteboard is wrong, you do not keep staring at it. You erase the board and you start over. You do not keep solving the wrong equation, hoping the answer magically changes. That is the definition of insanity. Stop mourning the time you have lost. Mourning is a useless emotion. It is a sentimentality tax that pays zero dividends. Accept the loss. Write it off as an educational expense. Look at the data, learn the lesson, and move forward with lethal precision. Yesterday's time is gone. Protect tomorrow's. Protect your tomorrow with your life. Protect it with your absolute, uncompromising discipline. Your future is far too valuable to be held hostage by the ghosts of your past decisions. Cut the cord. Walk out of the terrible movie. Liquidate the bankrupt partnership. Reclaim your capital. You have learned to sever the ties to your past. You have stopped letting history dictate your future. You have successfully cut the dead weight of bad investments, but the calculator must now turn its cold, objective lens on your daily existence. You have stopped paying for the past. Now, let's look at the exorbitant price you are paying in the present.
Chapter 4. Calculate the true cost of comfort. Society has sold you a catastrophic lie. They have convinced you that the ultimate goal of human existence is to be comfortable. They tell you to work just hard enough so you can finally put your feet up. They sell you recliners, streaming services, and luxury mattresses. They market the path of least resistance as the ultimate victory. They are lying to you. Comfort is not a reward. Comfort is a trap. Comfort is not free. It is an incredibly expensive subscription, and you are paying for it every single day. You do not pay for it with dollars and cents out of your checking account. You pay for it with your unfulfilled potential. You pay for it with the life you could have had. Every habit that keeps you comfortable is actively siphoning away the discipline required for your ultimate success. Every time you choose the couch over the gym, you are paying a fee. Every time you choose entertainment over education, your future is being taxed. The price of comfort is your legacy. This is the rule of the cold calculator. Comfort is a liability. Friction is an asset. I need you to internalize this completely. Say it with me. Comfort is a liability. Friction is an asset. When you are comfortable, you are stagnant. When you are stagnant, you are dying. Muscles only grow when they are torn under the friction of heavy weight. Minds only sharpen when they are ground against the friction of complex problems. Bank accounts only multiply when you endure the friction of relentless work. It's not about exhaustion. It's about discipline. People think they need to unwind. They think they deserve to shut their brains off because they survived another average day at an average job. This is the mindset of the defeated majority. The bottom 99% seek comfort. The top 1% seek friction. Let us run the brutal math. Let us look at the exact, undeniable numbers of your evening routine. You get off work. You eat dinner. You sit down on the couch. You grab the remote control. You watch 3 hours of television. Maybe it is Netflix. Maybe it is sports. Maybe it is video games. You call it relaxing. You call it harmless. Let's calculate the true cost of that harmless evening. 3 hours a night. 7 days a week. That is 21 hours a week. Now multiply that by 52 weeks. That is 1,095 hours a year. 1,095 hours. That is the equivalent of 45 entire days. A month and a half of waking hours completely vaporized. Gone forever. Sacrificed to a glowing rectangle in your living room. Now let us assign a financial value to those hours. Because you are a calculator now, and every hour has a price tag. Let us say you took those exactly 1,095 hours and dedicated them entirely to building a high-income skill. Copywriting, coding, digital marketing, high-ticket sales. In 1,000 hours, you go from absolute beginner to dangerous expert. In 1,000 hours, you can build a side business that replaces your primary income. If your new skill is worth a highly conservative $100 an hour, what did your television habit just cost you? It cost you $109,500. Look at that number. Over $100,000 in lost revenue every single year. You are paying a 6-figure premium just to sit on a soft cushion and watch other people live fake lives on a screen. You were literally paying to remain poor. You were paying to remain average. Comfort is a liability. Friction is an asset. When you see the math, the illusion shatters. You can no longer pretend that your lazy evenings are free. The invoice is sitting right in front of you. You have a choice. You can keep paying the subscription fee of mediocrity, or you can cancel it tonight. You can pick up the remote, or you can pick up a book. You can consume, or you can create. That's the key. You must stop consuming the world and start commanding it. Transformation requires immediate physical action. It is not enough to simply understand the math. You must alter the variables. I want you to look around your living space. Identify the comfort traps, the video game console, the television in the bedroom, the apps on your phone that steal your focus in 10-minute increments. These are not your possessions. They are your wardens. They are keeping you locked in the prison of the present. You must inject artificial friction into your life immediately. Unplug the television and put it in the closet. Delete the streaming apps from your phone. Change the passwords to your social media accounts and throw away the piece of paper. If you want to waste time, you must force yourself to work hard just to access the distraction. Make comfort difficult. Make execution easy. Set your running shoes by the door. Leave your notebook open on the desk. Design your environment so that the path of least resistance leads directly to friction. Your friends will call you crazy. Your family will tell you to relax. They will say you are obsessed. They will invite you to the bar, to the movie theater, to the endless parade of comfortable distractions. Listen to me. You don't need their permission to disappear and do the work. You don't need their permission to cancel your subscriptions to average living. You don't need their permission to become obsessed with your own potential. They are operating on a broken mathematical formula. They are optimizing for the weekend. You are optimizing for the empire. Let them be comfortable. Let them be soft. You are building armor. You are seeking the grind. Comfort is a liability.
Friction is an asset. Write that equation down. Every time you feel the urge to stop, to rest, to take the easy way out, run the numbers. Calculate the exact dollar amount of the opportunity you are about to murder. See the cost in bold, red ink. The successful operator does not flee from discomfort, they hunt it. They know that the obstacle is not in the way, the obstacle is the source of the profit. They embrace the cold water, they embrace the blank page, they embrace the sheer, unadulterated terror of stepping outside the boundary of what is known. You have a choice. Pay the cost of comfort today and live with the agony of unfulfilled potential tomorrow. Or endure the friction of discipline today and buy your absolute freedom tomorrow. The math is undeniably clear. You have calculated the cost of your own laziness. You have stopped paying the exorbitant price of your own comfort. You have taken a knife to your own liabilities. But the audit is not over. You are still hemorrhaging capital. Why? Because you are actively paying for the comfort of others. You have stopped letting your own weakness bankrupt you, but you are still writing checks to fund the failures of the people around you. It is time to close the bank.
Chapter 5. Stop subsidizing other people's weakness. You think you are a saint. You think your endless generosity is your greatest character trait. Society has trained you to believe that giving until it hurts is the highest form of love. Society has taught you that being a good person means setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Society is dead wrong. Empathy without strict boundaries is self-sabotage disguised as virtue. Let me be brutally, unapologetically honest with you. When you constantly bail people out of their self-inflicted problems, you are not helping them. You are destroying your own foundation to temporarily prop up their collapsing lives. You are subsidizing their weakness. You are paying a premium out of your own pocket to keep them comfortably incompetent. You are a cold calculator now. Look at the math. The equation of toxic empathy always ends in a negative balance for you. Here is the absolute rule for this chapter. You cannot save a sinking ship by drowning yourself. Say it out loud, right now, wherever you are. You cannot save a sinking ship by drowning yourself. Look at your family. Look at your extended circle of friends. There is someone in your life right now who operates as a professional victim. Let's look at the classic example, the perpetually broke family member. You know exactly who this is. It is the brother, the sister, the cousin, or the adult child who simply refuses to get their life together. They refuse to hold down a stable job. They refuse to cut their absurd expenses. They make terrible, impulsive decisions day after day, week after week. And then, like clockwork, the inevitable mathematical consequence arrives. The crisis hits. The rent is suddenly due, the car is being repossessed, the electricity is going to be shut off, and their phone is in their hand, dialing your number. They give you the sob story. They use panic as a weapon. They leverage your shared bloodline and your shared history to bypass your logic. They say they just need a little help. They say they just need a bridge loan to get through the week. They promise this is the absolute last time they will ever ask. The calculator in your mind knows the truth. The historical data proves without a shadow of a doubt that they will never pay you back. You have 5 years of spreadsheets proving they are a catastrophic investment. But you feel guilty. You feel the heavy, oppressive weight of obligation. Your heart overrides your math. So you open your phone. You log into your banking app. You transfer $500. You transfer $1,000. You take a deep breath, watch your own account balance drop, and tell yourself you did the right thing. You did not do the right thing. You committed financial treason against your own future. You cannot save a sinking ship by drowning yourself. Let us run the real numbers. Let us calculate the true, devastating cost of your supposed virtue. You didn't just lose $1,000 today. You lost the compounding interest that $1,000 would have generated in your investment portfolio over the next 20 years.
You lost the peace of mind that comes from having an impenetrable emergency fund. You traded your own hard-earned security for their temporary relief. And what did you actually buy them with that money? Did you buy them financial independence? No. Did you buy them a new relentless work ethic? Absolutely not. You bought them another 30 days of comfortable dysfunction. You paid for their right to remain weak. Worst of all, you robbed them of the most powerful catalyst for human change, the brutal, unyielding impact of rock bottom.
Rock bottom is where the math finally balances. Rock bottom is where excuses die and execution begins. By handing them cash, you shoved a soft mattress under them just before they hit the ground. You ensured they will fall again, and you ensured they will expect you to be there with your wallet open when they do. You have a choice. You can be their personal ATM until your own accounts run dry, or you can shut the vault permanently. You can keep funding their failure, or you can force them to face the consequences of their own math. It's not about cruelty. It's about discipline. It is about having the iron discipline to stand firm when the emotional manipulation begins. That's the key. True help is not a financial handout. True help is an uncompromising standard. If you want to help them, demand more from them. Tell them to get a second job. Tell them to sell their television. Tell them to cancel their subscriptions. But do not give them another single dime of your capital. Your capital is the lifeblood of your empire. You do not bleed your empire dry to water a dead plant. You must take immediate physical action. The next time the phone rings and the manufactured crisis begins, you must be a wall of stone. You must deploy the most powerful, mathematically perfect word in the English language. No. No, I cannot lend you money. No, I will not pay your rent. No, I am not bailing you out. Do not explain yourself. Do not offer a list of justifications. Do not apologize. An apology implies you are doing something wrong. You are doing something right. You are stopping a catastrophic leak in your hull. You don't need their permission to close your wallet. You don't need their permission to protect your assets. You don't need their permission to let them fall. They will scream, they will cry, they will call you greedy, they will call you heartless, they will run to the rest of the family and tell everyone that you turned your back on them in their darkest hour. Let them talk. The calculator does not care about family gossip. The calculator does not care about guilt trips. The calculator only cares about the bottom line. And the bottom line is that their emergency is not your liability. Their lack of preparation does not constitute an emergency for your bank account. You cannot save a sinking ship by drowning yourself. Every time you feel the urge to rescue someone from a storm they willingly sailed into, you must repeat that phrase. You are standing on dry land. You built a solid foundation through hard work, sacrifice, and ruthless mathematical precision. They are thrashing in the water because they refuse to learn how to swim. If you jump in to save them, they will panic. They will pull you under. You will both drown. Stay on the shore. Throw them a rope of advice if you must, but do not jump into the freezing water. Do not compromise your footing. You have a choice. Right now, you can continue to be the victim of their incompetence, or you can sever the financial umbilical cord today. Stop being a coward disguised as a savior. Face the conflict. Endure the guilt. Let the guilt wash over you. Let it fade away, and then look at your bank account and watch it grow. You have cut the funding to the liabilities in your life. You have successfully stopped subsidizing weakness. You have plugged the massive leaks in your financial and emotional hull. You are no longer bleeding capital to keep other people comfortable. Your resources are finally entirely your own. But having resources is only half the battle. Now you must learn how to allocate them with lethal precision. You must learn how to put a hard, unfeeling price tag on your very existence. You stopped paying for their failure. Now let's talk about the exact, uncompromising price of your time.
Chapter 6. The Metrics of Ruthless Prioritization. You are making a fatal mistake. You are walking into the marketplace of life with a blank price tag on your forehead. You are letting everyone else determine what your hours are worth. And let me tell you a brutal truth. If you do not assign a hard, numerical dollar value to your time, the rest of the world will happily treat it as worthless. They will invite you to pointless meetings. They will ask you for just a quick favor. They will consume your weekends with their mundane dramas. Why? Because you let them. Because you have not established a baseline cost for your existence. This ends today. Prioritization is not about time management. Time management is a myth sold to the middle class. You cannot manage time. Time marches forward whether you are breathing or not. You can only manage assets. Prioritization is about strict, unfeeling asset allocation. Your hours are the most limited, depleting asset you own. Here is your new operational mandate. Price your time or the world will steal it. Say it out loud. Drill it into your subconscious. Price your time or the world will steal it. We are going to do the math right now. I want you to think about your ultimate financial goal. Let's say you want to make $200,000 a year. Let us break that down into standard working hours. 2,000 working hours in a year. That means your time, mathematically, must be valued at $100 an hour. $100 an hour. That is your baseline. That is your absolute floor. If an activity does not generate $100 of value or save you $100 of expense, you are strictly forbidden from doing it. Let us look at a real-world example. Let us look at your Saturday. You wake up early. You want to be productive, so you spend 2 hours deep cleaning your apartment. Then you spend an hour folding laundry. After that, you get in your car, drive 20 minutes to the grocery store, spend an hour walking the aisles, wait in line for 15 minutes, and drive 20 minutes back. You get home, you're exhausted. You feel like you accomplished a lot. Society would pat you on the back for being a responsible adult. The calculator says you are a fool. The calculator says you just set your own money on fire. Let us run the numbers. You spend 4.5 hours doing chores. At your baseline rate of $100 an hour, you just paid $450 to clean your house and buy your food. $450. Could you have hired a professional cleaning service for $100? Yes. Could you have paid a grocery delivery fee of $20? Yes. You could have outsourced all of that friction for $120. Instead, you paid $450 in lost time. You operated at a catastrophic deficit of $330. You thought you were saving money. You were actually hemorrhaging capital. It's not about being frugal. It's about ruthless execution.
Frugality is for people who plan on playing small for the rest of their lives. Execution is for people who are building empires. You cannot build an empire while you are scrubbing a toilet. You cannot draft a master business plan while you are standing in line behind someone arguing over a coupon at the supermarket. Price your time, or the world will steal it. This is the transformation you must make today. You must brutalize your to-do list. Every single task must be run through the filter of your hourly rate. If the task costs less to outsource than your hourly rate, you outsource it. If it cannot be outsourced, you automate it. If it cannot be automated, you eliminate it completely. People will judge you. Your family will tell you that paying someone to mow your lawn or deliver your groceries is lazy. They will say you are acting like you are too good for hard work. Listen to me. You don't need their permission to buy back your time. You don't need their permission to protect your highest leverage hours. Let them spend their Saturday sweating over a lawnmower to save $40. Let them stand in traffic. They are entirely missing the point of wealth. Wealth is not just money in the bank. Wealth is total control over your schedule. That's the key. You are not buying a service. You are buying back your own potential. When you buy back those 4.5 hours on Saturday, what do you do with them? You do not sit on the couch. You do not watch television. You deploy those hours into high-yield, high-leverage activities. You study your market. You build your sales funnel. You exercise to increase your physical stamina. You do the things that actually move the needle on your $100 an hour goal.
You must become aggressively protective of your calendar. When someone asks for an hour of your time to pick your brain, you must see that request for what it actually is. They are asking you to hand them a $100 bill. Would you open your wallet and hand a stranger a crisp $100 bill just because they asked nicely? No. So why are you handing them your time? Price your time, or the world will steal it. You have a choice. You can continue to treat your time like dirt, and the world will treat you accordingly. Or you can assign a premium price tag to your existence and force the world to pay the toll. Stop running errands. Stop doing low-value data entry. Stop saying yes to zero ROI coffee meetings. Calculate your rate, write it on a sticky note, put it on your computer monitor. Every time a new task enters your orbit, look at the number. Do the math. If it does not multiply your wealth or significantly enhance your absolute physical recovery, you kill it. No more excuses about not having enough time to build your dream. You have exactly the same amount of time as every billionaire on the planet. The difference is not the clock. The difference is the calculator. They ruthlessly allocate their assets. You waste yours trying to save pennies. You have established your baseline. You have priced your time, and you have stopped doing the cheap work. You are now guarding your calendar with lethal force. But there is a silent killer still lurking in your portfolio. You are still holding on to investments based on what you hope they will become, rather than what they actually are. You protected your schedule. Now, let's talk about the danger of protecting your fantasies.
Chapter 7. Liquidate your illusions. You are hallucinating. You are walking through your life, your business, and your relationships staring through a lens of pure, unadulterated fantasy. You are pouring your finite time, your hard-earned money, and your irreplaceable energy into a ghost. You are investing in a fabricated, imaginary asset called potential. Let me be absolutely clear. Potential is a scam. It is a completely useless metric. It is an illusion designed to keep you trapped in terrible investments. Hoping for people to change is the investment strategy of a fool. Waiting for a bad situation to magically improve without ruthless intervention is mathematical suicide. The universe does not care about your hopes. The market does not care about your optimism. The spreadsheet of your life only registers actual, tangible results. You must make decisions based strictly on historical data. You must make choices based entirely on current, undeniable actions. You must completely divorce yourself from empty potential. Here is your mental safeguard for the rest of your life. Look at the data, not the promise. Say it out loud right now. Look at the data, not the promise. Let us dissect a real-world scenario. Let us look at your business partner or your lead employee. We will call him Mark. Mark is charismatic. Mark is a great talker. When you started this venture, Mark had endless potential. But potential does not close deals. Potential does not generate revenue. In the first quarter, Mark drops the ball. He misses a massive deadline and costs you a major client. You pull him into the office. What does Mark do? He apologizes. He gives you a brilliant, heartfelt excuse. He promises you that he was just distracted, and he swears to you, "I will do better next quarter." You want to believe him. You like Mark. You buy the illusion. Quarter 2 arrives. Sales are down again. Mark is coming in late. He's leaving early. He misses 3 more key targets. You confront him again. What does he say? "The market is tough right now. I have some personal things going on. I promise next quarter will be different." Quarter 3, quarter 4, the exact same result, the exact same apologies, the exact same empty promises of future performance. You are operating on a fantasy. You are managing the person you want Mark to be instead of managing the person Mark actually is. You are letting his vocal cords override your calculator. Look at the data, not the promise.
If you look at Mark's words, he is a dedicated partner who is just having a string of bad luck. If you look at Mark's data, he is a massive, compounding liability who is actively destroying your company. His historical data proves he is incompetent. His current actions prove he is unreliable. His potential is completely, mathematically irrelevant. It's not about cynicism. It's about discipline.
Cynicism is believing everyone is going to fail. Discipline is demanding proof that they are going to succeed. You must enforce absolute discipline over your own perception. You must train your brain to go completely deaf when people start making promises. When someone says, "I will change," your calculator must register a 0. When someone says, "I will do better," your spreadsheet remains blank. Words have 0 equity in the boardroom of your life. Actions are the only currency that matters. That's the key. You must build a literal spreadsheet of actions in your mind. When you evaluate a partner, an employee, or a significant other, you must strip away their personality, strip away their charm, strip away your shared history. Look exclusively at the raw numbers of their behavior. Do they execute? Do they deliver on time? Do they generate a positive return on your investment? If the answer is no, you must liquidate the asset. You have a choice. You can keep buying Mark's excuses and watch your empire crumble, or you can fire him today and protect your capital. You can keep hoping a bad relationship will miraculously turn into a good one, or you can look at the data, accept the loss, and walk away. Liquidating illusions is painful. It requires you to admit that you made a bad bet. It requires you to face the harsh, unfeeling reality that the situation is exactly as bad as the numbers say it is. But the pain of liquidation is temporary. The pain of holding on to an illusion is permanent. You must take immediate physical action. I want you to identify the biggest illusion in your life right now. Who is the person you are making excuses for? What is the failing project you are keeping alive purely on life support and blind hope? Pull up the data. Write down their actual actions over the last 6 months. Not their intentions, not their apologies, their actions. Read the list. See the deficit in black and white. Now, cut the cord. You don't need their permission to dissolve the partnership. You don't need their permission to terminate the contract. You don't need their permission to stop believing their lies. They will try to sell you one last promise. They will try to paint one last beautiful picture of their potential. Do not look at the picture. Look at the ledger. Look at the data, not the promise. If they wanted to be an asset, they would have done the work. If they wanted to generate value, they would have executed. They didn't. The data is final. The audit is complete. Close the account. Stop funding the gap between who people say they are and who their actions prove them to be. You are a cold calculator. You deal in reality. You deal in execution. You deal in absolute truth. Let the rest of the world drown in their comfortable illusions. You are building on bedrock. You have learned to destroy the fantasies. You have learned to see the world with cold, unfeeling clarity. You have stripped away the bad investments, the comfortable distractions, and the false promises. You have cleaned house. The noise is gone. The liabilities are gone. Now you find yourself alone. Society will tell you this is a tragedy. Society will tell you that you need to fill the void. Society is wrong again. You liquidated the illusions. Now, let's talk about the immense power of the silence you just created.
Chapter 8. The Profitability of Solitude. You have cut the dead weight. You have fired the liabilities. You have liquidated the illusions. Now you look around your life and the room is empty. The noise has stopped. The chaotic parade of complainers and energy vampires is gone. Society tells you this is a crisis. Society tells you that an empty room is a punishment.
They have conditioned you to believe that being alone means you are failing. The masses are absolutely terrified of silence. Why? Because in the silence, you have to face the brutal math of your own life. Most people cannot handle their own ledger. They cannot stand to look at their own deficits. So they surround themselves with noise. They surround themselves with warm bodies. They willingly operate at a massive social and emotional deficit just to avoid being by themselves. You are a cold calculator now. You do not fear the silence, you weaponize it. Operating alone is vastly superior to operating at a deficit with the wrong crowd. Solitude is a high-yield environment for self-improvement. Forced socialization is an absolute drain on your reserves. Here is your undeniable formula for the weekend. Solitude is an investment. Distraction is an expense. Burn that into your mind. Say it out loud right now. Solitude is an investment. Distraction is an expense. When you are alone, you retain 100% of your energy. You direct your focus exactly where it needs to go. There is no compromise. There is no negotiation over what movie to watch, what restaurant to eat at, or what trivial gossip to discuss. You are the sole shareholder of your time, and you hold absolute executive power. It's not about loneliness, it's about leverage. Loneliness is a feeling. Leverage is a mathematical advantage. When you detach from the crowd, you gain leverage over your own future. Let us run the real-world numbers. Let us look at the classic Friday night calculation. You have worked hard all week. It is Friday at 5 p.m. The text messages start coming in. Where are we going? Let's hit the bar. Let's blow off some steam. You feel the psychological pull of the crowd. You feel the fear of missing out. The FOMO tax is the most expensive tax levied on the weak-minded. Let us look at scenario A. You give in. You go to the bar. You stand in a crowded, loud room. You spend $150 on overpriced drinks and mediocre food. Who are you talking to? You are talking to people whose opinions hold absolutely zero equity in your life. You are shouting over deafening music to impress acquaintances who will not remember your name in 5 years. You are engaging in low-level conversations about the weather, sports, and other people's failures. You wake up on Saturday morning. You are exhausted. You are dehydrated. Your brain fog is thick. Your wallet is $150 lighter.
Multiply that $150 by 52 weekends. That is $7,800 a year. You are spending almost $8,000 a year and hundreds of hours of your prime biological energy simply to escape your own reality. You operated at a catastrophic loss. The ROI is deeply negative. Now, let us look at scenario B, the calculation of the elite. You decline the invitation. You turn your phone on airplane mode. You stay home. The silence settles in. What do you do with this silence? You read a book written by a billionaire. You map out your business strategy for the upcoming week. You consume high-level information that physically alters the structure of your brain. You cook a healthy meal. You go to sleep at 9 o'clock. You wake up on Saturday morning at 5 a.m. Your mind is razor sharp. Your energy is completely full. Your bank account is untouched. You have retained 100% of your capital. You are ready to conquer the weekend while the rest of the world is nursing a hangover and complaining about their bar tab. Solitude is an investment. Distraction is an expense. Look at the contrast. The math is not subjective. Scenario A drains your empire. Scenario B builds your empire. You have a choice. You can buy temporary, low-value inclusion, or you can build permanent, undeniable wealth. You can be the life of a meaningless party, or you can be the architect of a formidable future. That's the key. True power is generated in the dark. It is built behind closed doors when no one is watching and no one is cheering. Your behavioral instruction for this week is immediate and non-negotiable. You are going to initiate a total social blackout. I want you to look at your calendar for the next 30 days. Find every single social obligation that you agreed to out of guilt,
habit or FOMO, the meaningless dinners, the happy hours, the networking events that produce zero actual network. Cancel them all. You don't need their permission to stay home. You don't need their permission to protect your energy. You don't need their permission to build your fortress. When you cancel, do not offer a long emotional apology. Simply state that you have a scheduling conflict. The conflict is between your glorious future and their stagnant present. Your future wins. People will call you boring. They will say you have become antisocial. They will try to shame you back into the herd. Let them bleat. Sheep always mock the wolf for walking alone. The calculator does not care about the opinions of the herd. The calculator only cares about the compounding interest of focused execution. Solitude is an investment. Distraction is an expense. Embrace the empty room. Learn to love the silence. When you stop bleeding your energy into the void of forced socialization, you will suddenly discover you have superhuman stamina. You will have the time to build the skills that command high prices in the marketplace. You will have the mental clarity to solve problems that baffle the exhausted masses. Do the math on your friendships. Do the math on your weekends. Keep the profit. You have learned to stand alone. You have mastered the high-yield environment of your own company. You have built a fortress of absolute focus. But you cannot stay in the fortress forever. Eventually, you must interact with the marketplace. You must negotiate. You must deal with a world that operates entirely on irrational emotion. You have secured your solitude. Now, let's talk about how you walk back into the world and completely dominate it.
Chapter 9. Weaponized Objectivity. You have stepped out of your fortress. You have secured your solitude, priced your time, and liquidated your illusions. Now you must walk back into the marketplace. You must interact with a world that is completely driven by irrational, chaotic emotion. The marketplace is a battlefield. Everyone you meet wants something from you. They want your time, your money, your skills, or your compliance. And to get it, they will use the most effective weapon they have, your own feelings. They will try to make you feel guilty. They will try to make you feel desperate. They will try to make you feel like you need them. You must neutralize their weapon. You must build an impenetrable firewall around your mind. Emotional detachment is not a character flaw. It is your ultimate tactical advantage. It is your shield and it is your sword. Welcome to the discipline of weaponized objectivity. When you remove your feelings from the equation, you instantly gain leverage over anyone who cannot control theirs. The world is full of desperate people making impulsive decisions. When you operate as a cold calculator, you become untouchable. Here is the strategic law that will dictate every interaction you have from this day forward. The one who cares the least controls the most. Say it with me. Drill it into your operational code. The one who cares the least controls the most. Let us look at how this plays out in the real world. Let us put you in the middle of a high-stakes negotiation. You are sitting across the table from a recruiter, a potential business partner, or a major client. You are negotiating a contract. You want this deal. You have bills to pay. You have goals to hit. The other side knows this. They can smell the desire on you. They can sense your emotional attachment to the outcome. So they make their move. They slide a piece of paper across the table. They offer you 20% less than your established baseline. They add terrible terms. They demand more of your time for less of their money. Then they deploy the manipulation. They lean back. They cross their arms. They tell you about the great company culture. They tell you about the future potential of the partnership. They create artificial urgency. They say they need an answer right now. They use awkward silence to make you uncomfortable, hoping you will nervously start negotiating against yourself. The average person crumbles here. The average person gets angry or they get desperate. They start defending their worth. They start explaining why they deserve more. Or worse, they cave. They accept the terrible terms because they are terrified of walking away with nothing. You are no longer average. You are a calculator.
And a calculator does not feel awkward silence. A calculator does not feel desperation. A calculator only reads the data. You look at the piece of paper. You run the numbers. The numbers do not hit your baseline. The math does not align with your established goals.
You do not get angry. You do not get offended. It's not about pride. It's about discipline. You simply look them dead in the eye, slide the paper back across the table, and deliver an emotionless, perfectly flat response. The math does not work for me. I decline. And then you stand up. You gather your things. You prepare to walk out the door. Watch what happens next. The entire dynamic of the room will instantly shatter. The power will shift so fast it will create a vacuum. Why? Because you just proved that you do not care. You proved that you were completely unattached to their validation. The one who cares the least controls the most. When they realize they cannot manipulate your emotions, they will panic. They will suddenly start backpedaling. They will find more money in the budget. They will suddenly drop the terrible terms, or they will let you walk away. And if they let you walk away, you have successfully avoided a catastrophic depreciating asset. You won either way. This is the immense, undeniable power of an emotionless no. You have a choice. You can enter the boardroom of life begging to be chosen, or you can enter as the auditor who is choosing. You can let their pressure dictate your price, or you can let your calculator dictate your boundaries. That's the key. Objectivity gives you absolute clarity. When you do not care about being liked, you cannot be manipulated. When you are not afraid of losing the deal, you dictate the terms of the deal. You must start practicing this immediately. You must train yourself to separate the biological reaction from the mathematical reality. When someone tries to pressure you, feel your heart rate increase. Feel your stomach tighten. Acknowledge the biological response and then forcefully shut it down. Do not speak while you are feeling. Speak only after you have run the calculation. If a situation is toxic, you leave. If a deal is bad, you walk. If a client is unreasonable, you fire them. You don't need their permission to terminate a negotiation. You don't need their permission to reject their lowball offer. You don't need their permission to value your own time exactly as you see fit. You are the CEO of your own existence. The CEO does not ask for permission from the competition. The CEO executes the strategy. People will try to make you feel guilty for your boundaries. They will say you are too rigid. They will say you are impossible to deal with. What they are actually saying is that you are impossible to exploit. Take it as a compliment. Let them be emotional. Let them be chaotic. Let them make terrible business decisions based on how they feel that day. You will remain calm. You will remain detached. You will look at the numbers and you will execute the optimal play every single time. The one who cares the least controls the most. Write this down before your next meeting. Write it down before your next phone call with a difficult client. You are entering the arena completely indifferent to their approval. Your only allegiance is to your own ledger. Your only loyalty is to your own baseline. If they meet it, you do business. If they do not, you say no and you do not look back. You have weaponized your objectivity. You have learned how to dominate the marketplace by refusing to play the emotional games of the masses. You have optimized every single variable of your life. You have cut the deficits, priced your time, and mastered the silence. There is only one thing left to do. You have built the spreadsheet. Now we must look at the grand total. We must look at the ultimate trajectory of your existence. Chapter 10. The Bottom Line of Your Life. Welcome to the end of the spreadsheet. The audit is almost complete. You have scrubbed the data. You have cut the fat. You have priced your time, liquidated your illusions, and weaponized your objectivity. You are no longer bleeding out your potential to keep the weak and the stagnant comfortable. But there is one final calculation to make. We must zoom out. We must look at the grand total of your existence. You only get one ledger. You do not get a reset button. You do not get a second quarter to make up for a lifetime of terrible investments. When the clock stops, the math must absolutely balance out to a net positive. Your legacy will not be built on the sentimental obligations you maintained.
No one is going to engrave your tombstone with the words, "He never said no." Nobody is going to build a statue to commemorate how much time you wasted listening to complaints or how much money you lost subsidizing other people's failures. Legacy is not a feeling. Legacy is a math equation. It is the sum total of your calculated actions minus your emotional liabilities. Here is the final, ultimate command of this operating system. Run the numbers, keep the profit. Say it out loud. Burn it into your soul right now. Run the numbers, keep the profit. Let us do a sweeping final review. Let us look at the reality of two different lives. Let us contrast the masses against the elite. Let us look at the martyr, and let us look at the operator. The martyr lives entirely on emotion. The martyr is terrified of being disliked. The martyr says yes to every single request. They keep the toxic childhood friend around because of history. They sit by the coffee machine and let coworkers extract their focus. They stay in the dead-end relationship because of the sunk cost fallacy. They hand over their hard-earned capital to perpetually broke family members. They pay the ultimate tax of sentimentality every single day of their life. What is the bottom line for the martyr? The math is devastating. The martyr reaches the end of their life utterly exhausted. They are financially drained. Their dreams were sacrificed on the altar of other people's comfort. They drown in mediocrity. They die with a ledger soaked in red ink, holding a mountain of invisible debt that no one will ever repay. They lived for everyone else, and as a result, they accomplished absolutely nothing of true value. Now let us look at the operator. Let us look at the cold calculator. Let us look at you. The operator cuts the deficit. The operator audits their circle and ruthlessly removes the liabilities. The operator prices their time at a premium and refuses to discount it for anyone. The operator unplugs the television, endures the friction of deep work, and builds high-income skills in the silence of solitude. The operator walks away from bad deals with a blank face and a cold, emotionless no. What is the bottom line for the operator? Exponential growth, generational wealth, absolute unshakable freedom. The operator reaches the end of their life and the ledger is pristine. The black ink is overflowing. They kept the profit of their own time. They kept the profit of their own energy. They built an empire because they refused to fund the circus. Run the numbers, keep the profit. Look at those two lives. The contrast is not an accident. The contrast is the direct, undeniable result of mathematics. A ledger is not written in a single day. The bottom line of your life is not determined by one massive event. It is determined by thousands of microscopic transactions. It is the Tuesday night when you chose to read instead of watch television. It is the Thursday morning when you told a liability to stop complaining and get back to work. It is the Sunday afternoon when you refused to answer the phone for the toxic relative. Every single micro-decision is a deposit or a withdrawal.
When you let sentiment rule your life, you suffer death by 1,000 cuts. A tiny withdrawal of your energy here, a small withdrawal of your time there. You think it doesn't matter. You think 1 hour doesn't make a difference. But the calculator never sleeps. The calculator compounds every single loss. You look up 10 years later and your account is entirely empty. You are bankrupt. You have a choice. Right now, in this exact moment, you have a choice. You can be the martyr or you can be the operator. You can bleed or you can build. Do not let society shame you into choosing the path of the martyr. They will try. They will tell you that being ruthless is a character flaw. They will tell you that prioritizing your own bottom line makes you an arrogant person. Listen to me very closely. It's not about arrogance. It's about absolute discipline. You are the sole steward of your own potential. If you squander it on people who refuse to grow, you have failed your mission. That's the key. Your highest moral obligation is not to keep the liabilities comfortable. Your highest moral obligation is to maximize your own assets. When you are strong, you can change the world. When you are drained, you cannot even change yourself. Stop worrying about who you are going to disappoint. Disappoint them. Let them be disappointed. You do not owe them your future.
You don't need their permission to be wildly successful. You don't need their permission to protect your peace. You don't need their permission to look at the math of a relationship and permanently close the account. They did not build you, and they do not have the right to break you. Run the numbers. Keep the profit. Every single day, you are writing the final line of your ledger. Are you depositing or are you withdrawing? Are you gaining ground or are you sinking into the comfortable quicksand of the masses? You must take immediate, unyielding action. From this day forward, you are operating on a new frequency. You are immune to guilt. You are deaf to excuses. You are blind to illusions. You only see the raw, undeniable data of execution. If a habit is costing you potential, cut it. If a person is draining your energy, block them. If an investment is failing, liquidate it. Do not hesitate. Do not apologize. The calculator does not apologize for being right. The calculator simply delivers the truth. The bottom line of your life is entirely in your hands. Do not let sentimentality bankrupt you. Do not let the ghosts of your past dictate the wealth of your future. Be relentless. Be objective. Be the apex predator of your own existence. Run the numbers. Keep the profit. Let that be the rhythm of your heartbeat. Let that be the filter for every word you speak and every action you take. You have mastered the math. You have replaced your heart with a calculator. You have learned exactly how to assess value without sentiment. The audit is complete, but knowledge without immediate execution is just another liability. You understand the bottom line. Now it is time for your final directive. Let us move to the ultimate challenge.
You've reached the end, but the audit has just begun. For the last 2 hours, I have handed you the formula. I have shown you the brutal, undeniable math of your own life. There are no more excuses. Every time you say yes out of guilt, every time you hold on to a dead relationship, every time you choose comfort over progress, you are operating at a massive loss. The spreadsheet of your life is bleeding red. But as of this exact second, the sentimental charity is over. You are the CEO of your existence, and it is time to liquidate the liabilities. No more emotions in the boardroom of your mind. No more carrying dead weight because it feels familiar. Look at your circle, look at your habits, and look at your bank account. Here is your final challenge. I want you to identify your single biggest time-leeching liability right now and cut it. Today. Do the math, run the numbers, and take your life back.